If you've ever had a paw in furry publishing, then you've heard the name Kyell Gold. One of the most prolific and consistent authors in the furry fandom, he has long written stories of an anthropomorphic tilt, displaying exceptional skill in both narrative quality as well as the nuances of furry writing. One of my first exposures to his work came in the form of a book called Volley, which at the time I did not realize had come from some short stories he had published sometime prior. Shadow of the Father is the, third book in the series. I'd bought it ages ago and just never read it, but this past December I decided I was going to give it a shot. Set in Kyell Gold's world of Argaea, it is a setting of walking, talking animals of about a dozen species or so at approximately a Renaissance level of development. The main characters are Yilan and Cinch. Yilan is Vale's second son, and due to the nature of the rules of succession is not in line to become the next lord of Vinton, the province where Vale holds the title. Young, resentful of his father, and wanting nothing more than to go home, Yilan is thrust into a course of events that will shape his future for some time to come. Although it's been long enough that I kind of forget a lot of books 1 and 2, I really like Yilan more than the other protagonists in the series. He's got a good heart, and in comparison to his brother, perhaps a better head on his shoulders, but I appreciate his desire to do the right thing, shape his own destiny, and his good fortune to have been raised in an environment relatively free of racism. Cinch is Yilan's best friend, and a mouse. Living in a house with his mother in the city of Devalia, he and Yilan spend their days wandering around the palace and generally enjoying each other's company. Clearly implied to be in a relationship, Cinch accompanies Yilan when his responsibilities require him to leave town. Skilled in the use of a knife and nimble on his feet, Cinch is a gentle soul with a warm disposition. On a personal level, I really enjoyed Cinch. Full name being Cinchon, he is a great best friend for Yilan to have. Not only does he do a great deal to expand the story in his own right, but he's a likable character that pairs well with Yilan while standing just as effectively on his own. Yilan spends his days in Devalia, wandering around with his best friend Cinch. Named the heir to the province of Dewan, he must travel there for confirmation. However, it is the last place he wants to be. Scheming to get sent home to Vinton, he puts a plan into action. However, all is far more complicated than he expects. One thing you can usually expect with a Kyell Gold book is a good ride, and Shadow of the Father is no exception. While it begins as a tale of a son resentful of his father's choices and wanting little more than to spend his days at home free of responsibility, it becomes a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and secrets. Sent to Diwan to assume his place as the new lord, Yilan finds himself smack in the middle of a long-standing cold war between mice and foxes. Faced with the city of foxes intensely distrustful of mice, who themselves are relegated to a slum-like area called the Warren, he is forced early on to abandon Cinch as he is delivered to a more appropriate place. Following the attempt by the steward Maxon to send Cinch back to Devalia, he takes it upon himself to guard the crown with the intention to use it to get himself sent home, but things quickly spiral out of control. Split between the two protagonists, the story follows each of them on their parallel journeys through the streets of Dewan. Cinch and Yilan both make their share of enemies as they try to hold the situation together and keep themselves alive. The world is colorfully built with complex layers of development, making excellent use of the setting and anthropomorphic nature of the characters. An experienced furry writer, Kyell does a wonderful job of making sure you know the characters aren't just people with tails. Showing complex layers to both the foxes and the mice is clear that there is a rich depth to the world he created, and it plays well to the strength of the story. It's evident in the writing that the author has a solid understanding of the nature of racism, both in the manner in which the foxes and mice relate to each other, as well as amongst themselves, with the various attitudes of the characters displaying a wide variety of opinions on the topics of tolerance, understanding, and the value of life. The entire book is well written, with just enough mystery to keep you guessing what will happen next until the very end. Overall, I'd have to recommend this book very highly, as it does the job of being a good book period, one that I think serves as a great example of quality furry fiction.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!